Today we celebrate because now this channel has reached over 1,000 subscribers. Man, I wish I could have all you people here in this room with me. Nope, stop. Now it's getting too crowded. Now, to celebrate this occasion, I asked people on my Twitter if they had any sort of questions they would like to get answered for this Q&A video. But I've been pushing back this for two reasons. One, when I recorded them, it was way before I even got 1,000 subscribers in the first place, so the timing wasn't right. And two, I had animations I needed to finish before I even considered releasing one, because if I just uploaded the Q&A video with no work done before, nobody would have cared as much. And also, a fair warning, the sound quality is probably not going to be the best because this was recorded on a phone instead of a Yeti Blue microphone, which is the one that I'm using right now. And of course, if you have any questions that you would like to get answered, not to worry, this is only episode 1, and you can just post it in the comments. Yes, please, just one question per person, please. I'm not going to repeat the same mistake as I did before. And without further ado, let's get going. Eric L. asks, is there anything you want to try with your covers that you haven't had the opportunity to try yet? Well, for one, I would love to do animated covers out of previous work that I've done before. For example, I would love to do an animated cover of Big Blue from F-Zero, but I already did one with Paul not too long ago, so it would still be too early to think about it. But at the same time, I've already done a cover of Dragon Roost Island from Wind Waker, and that was 3 years ago, and now that I've gotten more experience and a lot more time has passed because of that, I feel like an animated cover out of that one would be perfect. But if we're not talking about previous work, I would say musicals is also an idea that I would love to try. And that means like inviting people to try voice acting and then see if we can make music out of popular tunes with original lyrics. And yeah, sure, I have done voice acting, I have done animation, I have done original music, and I have done an original song with my own lyrics, but never a musical because of either time or, not knowing many people at the time. But now that I actually have gotten really good ideas in my head that I really want to try out, I feel like now is the perfect time for it. I'm not gonna say when, but I'll keep you guys peeled for that one. It's gonna be fun. Tyler and Jess asks, what inspired you to do animated covers? I've always loved animation. Before I became a musician, I wanted to become an animator. So much so that I actually started to do my own animations as a kid in middle school when I used Macromedia Flash. And that included making my own original characters and original stories, and I wanted to see how they look like in animated format. But as time went on, I got more lazy and I stopped making animations and switched computers and got myself Photoshop instead to do illustrations. So fast forward to 2013, when I started to do YouTube more frequently. I started to publish more videos with music, and then one day, I'd say 2016, I decided I wanted to change because I've used Windows Movie Maker for too long, and I felt like, okay, I want to change. And one of such people I gotten to know, called Sound on Music, recommended to me this program called Magix, which is essentially like Sony Vegas, but at the same time kind of not, because it could do so many things like shortening your videos and making your videos look more nicer with contrasting and color correction and showing multiple footages at the same time. And then I found out that as I played around with this new tool of mine, I just found out that, hey, I could put in my own pictures. And I could also put in pictures with transparent backgrounds. So I started to play around with this more and more and more. I started to figure out I could do animation for my videos, the thing that I haven't done for years. And to me, it's perfect because for a long time I've been struggling to find out how I could work on both art and music. And now I found the perfect combo, especially now that I can actually make arrangements for something. And now I can make arrangements for animation. And that's perfect because it sort of forces me to arrange it in a way to make it fit the animation and not the other way around. So with this, I feel like, I actually found this new thing, this new niche. It's pretty great, honestly, and it still is. And hopefully this is something that I can grow into something really big one day. And it's still relatively new, so I haven't really done too much with it, but one day, hopefully it's gonna be into something bigger. Kane White asks, favorite type of bread? Oh, that's an easy one. It's sourdough bread. Oh, sorry. I mean sourdough bread. No, sourdough bread. No, sourdough bread. Sourdough bread. Sourdough bread. Piano Game Night asks, how did the name Toxodentrail come about? From this, a bread clip. It's a pretty funny story when I think about it, but I'm gonna keep it short because I already talked about this in one of my art streams. Back in 2012, I went through a certain thing called art block in high school, and to many people who's an artist, it's a pretty terrible thing to go through, where
you don't draw anything for up to several months or to like a year because of lack of inspiration or motivation, or you don't think your art is good enough for something like that. But basically, it was pretty terrible. But one day, when I decided to pursue my artwork in art school after I graduated from high school, I got an assignment from the art school before I could join, and that was to draw a bread clip. Now, I could draw anything that I wanted, but all the drawings had to reference the bread clip in some way. For example, if I wanted to draw like a tree in the background, but it has to be surrounded by mountains to resemble the shape of the bread clip, I had to do it. Everything about it needed to resemble the bread clip. And from the bread clip, it escalated to like a shaver or a notebook or something like that. All of this sort of helped me to gain myself a new style, where I combined a lot of shapes and see if I could simplify it further. And I think it's because of this small little bread clip that I drew many shapes for that actually helped me to rekindle my love for drawing again, where I actually started to experiment with shapes. I like to experiment more, and that in itself became my own art style that everyone loved so much. And that's what the name Toxodentrail comes from. It's come from this bread clip called Toxodental, which is my way of saying that inspiration can come from the smallest of things that people normally take for granted. And there's something comically beautiful about using that one as my avatar, even now when it was like several years ago. And with that, it's like full circle has come ahead. Holly Eldon asks, what am I so cute? Well, you see, I am why I am. KTMH Cartoonist asks, what advice would you give to novice musicians who are thinking of composing their own music? This is a bit of a tricky question because I don't think there's a right or wrong answer for this one. But I'll try to keep it short and simple for those who are starting out. You know, not just for people who are, you know, starting off with music, but maybe you're a person who wanna start out writing original stories or making artwork or whatever. And it's start simple. I know it sounds like a no-brainer, but it's incredibly important because you don't want to start off with big projects. Like, you have this very inspiring idea that you want to get out as soon as you can, and you start off with big projects. I did the same thing, because I'm an idiot, and I ended up not finishing them because it was too much work and I had never done this before. I didn't have enough experience to build myself up to this, so I wasn't confident enough of thinking like, maybe people will like this or something like that, and I ended up not finishing it. What I really should have done was like start off simple projects and build myself up with more experience and see what would happen. And asking around for advice also helps immensely, like asking for people to look at your work and tell them what you can improve more on. And that helped me a lot. But also, from my personal experience, I would say that if you think that your idea is stupid, never think that for a second, because if there's one thing I learned is that there's never such a thing as a bad premise. Never. It's only bad execution. I mean, if you want to make music that's just one note or something like that, you can do it. No one says that you can't. It's only that the execution is incredibly crucial. If you think your idea is stupid, try asking around to see if it really is stupid, because it might not be as stupid as you think, because if you don't go with it, someone else might take your idea instead and actually go with it and see if that goes successful. Or maybe not, but at least someone would do it, and it's better off if you do it and try it. Even if it succeeds or fails, you still did it. It's something that you've done, and you can actually learn from it and see what you can do for future projects. And if you're still motivated, if you want to keep on going, then congratulations. You got yourself something that you're really interested in, and you will get better. Trust me. Also, if you want to know more about music theory, I would suggest channels like Sideways, Ongaku Concept, and 8-Bit Theory. Sanjesh asks, knowing the amount of time it takes to animate and arrange, how hard is it to keep a work/life balance? I'll tell you this, if I continued making animated covers every week like I used to, my life would have been a mess. Getting frustrated over missing deadlines and not finishing up personal projects that I wanted to, or finishing up commissions like I promised, it was a mess. So that's why I had to stop, and I honestly think that's for the better, because that way I can actually really focus on getting these videos as good as I want them to. And the more I think about it, the fact that I'm actually the only person who actually makes these animated covers really puts me in an advantage, but at the same time at a disadvantage, because no one else has ever done them before. So the only way I have to make them noticeable is to make them as good as can be. And by that, I feel like that's actually a best way to stop making weekly covers and just put them up whenever we're ready, and people will share them around. And that's what happened recently with more interactivity. So the more time I put into them, and the more they actually get worked on, the more my channel will grow, and the more I will feel satisfied for finding the balance between my personal life and my working life. which I think is pretty good. Ro Panuganti asks, favorite cartoons suggested for people getting into animation? 2-minute account, but if you want to have my personal recommendation for animation, I would say Cowboy Bebop, Avatar The Last Airbender, Batman the Animated Series, Samurai Jack, well, dumb finale aside, is a great watch for you if you want to have good storytelling. But one that really sticks out to me is a movie called The Trip to Belleville, which is a French movie I don't think you've heard of. And the reason why it sticks out to me is because the character design is insane. Like, literally insane. You would have characters that look exactly the part as they act. For example, you have bicyclists who act like horses, so they have really muscular legs, very much like a horse would have. And then you have security guards who are shaped like a square that forms like a brick wall almost. It's also a great watch for anyone who doesn't understand French because it's a silent movie and they use a lot of visuals for storytelling, which I think is great. So The Trip to Belleville is a movie I think that everyone should watch at least once in their lives, just because of how bizarre, but a good kind of bizarre this movie is. Kyle Prince asks, what advice would you give to the Hugo that just started making videos? What I would say to myself is, don't get married to the things in your head, because if you do, you're gonna get fixated on drawing this one thing over and over and over again because you couldn't get it out in the way how you imagined it, when that's not healthy, that's not a good thing. Because what you're doing is working inside of a bubble. What you have to do is to have to burst through that bubble by bouncing your ideas off others rather than through yourself. Asking teachers or asking your friends for advice because they can give you viewpoints that you never even could think of in the first place. That's a great way to further develop your art because you're never done. That's the whole thing. You're never done. Even though you think you've reached the top, you're never done. You've always got room for improvement, and the whole way is to make sure that you understand every aspect as much as you can. Deadlines is a great example of that also, because that way you have to work in a way to make sure that it looks the way you feel rather than what you think. That, or I would give you fashion advice.